The 5x5 program is one of the most iconic training systems in the world of weightlifting. It's been recommended for decades as the go-to blueprint for building strength and size. 5 sets of 5 reps on a few big compound lifts, usually done a couple times a week. And for many people it works at first. But there's a catch. After a few months, the gains slow down and they stop. And eventually, progress starts to move backwards. You're lifting heavy, you're showing up consistently, but you're not getting bigger. What's going on? The truth is, the 5x5 approach, while effective in some contexts, is deeply flawed. Unless you're a powerlifter or just a beginner, there's a good chance that sticking religiously to 5x5 is the exact reason your physique has plateaued. The 5x5 system typically involves 5 sets of 5 reps on compound exercises like squat, bench press, and deadlift. The focus is on heavy, full body training. The appeal is obvious. It's simple, measurable, and rooted in progressive overload. It teaches you how to get stronger on foundational lifts, and it absolutely can work. But it mainly works for beginners or those with strength-focused goals. So, if your goal is to build muscle, it might not actually work that well for you. Strength and size are related, but they're not the same. Strength is largely a product of your nervous system, how efficiently your brain can recruit more muscle fibers to move the weight. Muscle growth, on the other hand, is driven by mechanical tension, metabolic stress, and muscle damage, all of which depend on volume, time under tension, and fatigue. In 5x5, you're lifting heavy loads for low reps with lots of rests. That's great for neuromuscular efficiency, but it doesn't generate enough total volume or metabolic fatigue to maximize muscle growth. In other words, you might be getting stronger, but your muscles aren't getting the kind of stimulus they need to grow larger. Let's do some simple math. 5 sets of 5 reps equals to 25 total reps per exercise. If you're doing that for 3 to 4 exercises per session, you're getting 75 to 100 reps in your entire workout. Compare that to a hypertrophy focused session where you do 3 to 4 sets of 10 to 15 reps across multiple exercises. You're easily hitting 150 to 250 reps per muscle group. So what do these numbers mean? Muscle growth responds best to moderate to high volume training, especially in the 6 to 20 range, not the 5 range. It's not just about how much weight you lift, but how much work your muscles do under tension. 5x5 leaves too much stimulus on the table. The 5x5 mentality often treats isolation exercises like curls, lateral raises, tricep extensions as fluff or accessory work. But for muscle growth, these movements are crucial. Compound lifts are great, but they don't fully stimulate every muscle group. Your arms, side delts, calves, and even parts of your chest and back can get neglected from these 3 big compound workouts. If you're skipping isolation exercises, you're leaving muscle growth on the table as well. Even worse, the sheer fatigue of heavy compound lifting in 5x5 often leaves you too drained to do smaller muscle groups effectively. And this is how people end up with big squats and big deadlifts, but underwhelming arms and shoulders. In a typical 5x5 setup, you train each lift and indirectly each muscle group, only once or twice per week. For beginners that's enough, but intermediate and advanced lifters, it's insufficient. Muscles tend to grow best when they're trained 2 to 3 times per week, with a moderate to high amount of volume. That doesn't mean you need to destroy every muscle every session, but frequency helps reinforce this pattern. Increase weekly volume and keep muscles in a more consistent anabolic state. A 5x5 program simply doesn't allow that. 5x5 is addictive because it gives you clear numbers to chase, and if you add on 5 kgs to your squat this week, you feel like you're winning. But chasing numbers isn't the same as chasing muscle. Eventually you'll hit a plateau. The weights will stop increasing, and when that happens, you'll be left with a program that has no muscle growth structure, doesn't adapt based on your fatigue, and offers little flexibility in exercise selection. So what should you do instead? If your goal is muscle growth, You need to evolve beyond 5x5, and here's what you should focus on instead. Train in the 6 to 15 rep range. This rep range offers the best mix of mechanical tension, fatigue, and volume for muscle growth. Use a variety of exercises, incorporate machines, cables, dumbbells, and bodyweight movements to challenge angles and grips to fully develop muscles. Increase your training volume gradually. Track your weekly sets per muscle group and aim to hit 10 to 20 sets per muscle per week, depending on your recovery. And include isolation work. Give smaller muscle groups the direct attention they need. Isolation exercises are the essential for a complete physique. The 5x5 program isn't inherently bad, but it's often misapplied. It's a solid starting point to build strength and learn technique, but it's not a long-term muscle growth plan. If your primary goal is to build a bigger, more muscular physique, the 5x5 isn't going to work. It's just the wrong tool for the job. Muscle growth requires more than just the 5x5. It requires strategic volume and varied stimulus. So if you're grinding away at 5x5 and wondering why your physique hasn't changed, now you might know. You're not broken, you're just using a method that's past its expiration date. It's time to leave the 5x5 behind and do at least sets of 8.